Hello, everyone. You're back with Just Two Teens. It's me, Nicole, and
Calvin.
okay, Calvin. Today's discussion topic is what does find yourself, or does anyone even know actually what finding yourself even means? What is when someone says they're finding themselves or finding themselves, whatever. What do you think of? What runs through your head?
Well, the first thing that comes to my head is I don't know, finding like who you are, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, and also, as promised, we're actually gonna be playing a game. We actually filmed a podcast episode last week, but it was a fail because the audio didn't record, and so we scratched that, and yeah, so we're filming this one. So we're filming a second one, but it's technically our first.
Yeah,
Wait, start. Wait,
we are
ready up, ready up.
playing Marvel Rivals, the zombie mode, whatever.
The zombie mode, whatever. Yeah, it's a new game
Yeah.
mode, and we're probably gonna be playing like the normal match after this. I think we're getting sidetracked. So yeah. What does finding yourself mean to you, Nicole?
When someone tells me they're finding themselves, I'm like, oh, they're going on like a self-care journey era. Like,
They're finding
yay. But
themselves.
like, right. But like, what does that actually consist of? Like, how do you just do that?
Um, I think finding yourself just comes from experience. I think you just kind of naturally find yourself with just the time you spend on Earth. You know what I mean? Um,
Right. So then why do people have to like genuinely take out chunks of their life and be like, no, I can't do that right now. I'm finding myself to.
well, I think because we're so what's the word? I feel like well, I think we evolve. I don't think we remain stagnant. I think we change over time, and that's why people say like, oh, like I need to find myself again. Because sometimes like you think that you know who you are, but like you actually find out like a part of you that you didn't know about yourself, if that makes sense. I
Right,
think
but
that
if those things are created through experiences, but people deny and don't do, like people kind of stop having more diverse experiences on account of claiming are choosing to find themselves, then, you know, what do they gain from impeding their life in the name of like a self-care era?
wait, hold on, reword that?
Okay, let's say I'm gonna go find myself. But I find that a lot of people who claim they're going to go find themselves just kind of stop doing other things. Oh, like you want coffee? Oh, I don't want to go. I want to try and stop having coffee. I'm trying to find my inner self. Like I'm like there has to be something, like okay, then you're not getting coffee, but you're not doing anything else either. So like what are you gaining?
Well, I think they're trying to find themselves. That's what they're trying to gain. They're trying to like, you know. Oh, look at the Jeff. Look at his shoes.
I'm stuck.
Bro.
Girl, he's not wearing
He was
shoes.
wearing shoes. He was doing emo.
Well,
Um,
you're lying,
I'm
so.
not. I'm not. I have that on. I have that in the video. I have that recorded. I have proof. I have proof that happened. All right. So, well, I think they're gaining some. Like they're trying to find themselves. So that's what they're gaining at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
I feel like we're kind of repeating the same
Yeah.
thought of there is no exact definition of finding yourself.
I feel like finding yourself has a lot of different meanings because somebody can say like they're finding themselves, um, like like who they are, but then also finding yourself can also mean like other things like I don't know, maybe like you know who you are, but maybe you want to like go like maybe you want to like I don't know, like you want to see
Yeah.
like another part of you, you know, you're trying to like find a new side of yourself. So then usually people would go ahead and try new things to try to, you know, better understand themselves. Even if they like
But
know that like even if they like know themselves pretty well, if that makes sense.
when I hear most people say like they want to find themselves, it's like it's like they just broke up with someone and it's like it just sounds like finding themselves is an excuse.
Okay, so you think that people use finding yourself as an excuse?
Yeah, I do.
I think I agree with that because I think they say that to avoid
It's,
like
I feel like it's
embarrassment.
basically telling someone like, oh, it's not you, it's me. I'm gonna find myself.
I feel like they use that. But even if like you get broken up, I feel like some people like use that as like to like prevent embarrassment. Like, cause like if they say that, it's like, oh, like you broke up for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like you didn't lose anything. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely
But to
think
some
that.
extent, maybe it's a way to avoid it taking accountability in a relationship. Like,
Mm,
if you are struggle with committing, if you struggle with the responsibility of being in a relationship, and then you're like, I really want a nice way that's not super awkward out. Like, oh, it's not you, it's me. I just need to find myself.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. I think we both can agree that there's multiple definitions of like finding yourself. Like it can be used
I
as an
suppose.
excuse. Like there's like different functions. It's not just like the definition, but there's also like said like some people use it as a way to avoid accountability. But you know how like you said that for like the one I guess like breaking up, it also works for the person that got broken up.
Mhm.
So I think it goes both ways. But you know what? In your experience, have you ever said like, "Oh, I'm finding myself"? Have you ever said that?
No, I haven't. I have never had a reason to.
Have you done any like journey of some sort, maybe?
I know it kind of sounds cheesy.
Hmm.
I feel like we're always on a journey, whether we realize it or not. I think that like every day you do something new, or every day that you just breathe, you are potentially finding yourself. You're learning one new thing about yourself based on what you do that day. Even if it's something as simple as like, oh, I did a new lesson in math today and I've discovered that I'm an idiot because I still don't know what's going on.
So then, yeah, I think you can find yourself without you realizing. Is that what we're basically saying as well?
I think finding yourself is a natural part of living, and I don't think you need to separate yourself like from like I don't think it has to be a separate thing. Like you don't need to state to the world that you're going to find yourself. And that now of all times you're gonna start finding yourself right now. Like you've always been finding yourself. It's
You
been
just didn't
happening
realize
since
it.
day one.
You just didn't realize
Yeah.
it.
And I think you just need an excuse because I think you're finding yourself. Like otherwise you didn't have your basic core interests to begin
So
with.
I think that when people say it, I feel like then it's like a more of an excuse, or it's either like, or it's either they're really like in tune with themselves, like they're very like self-aware.
I wait. Are you making the argument that self-aware people do quote say I'm going to go find myself?
I think that they're more inclined to say that.
I actually think
I'm saying like it's either the people who use it as an excuse or people who are more emotionally like aware of themselves.
well, okay, let me ask you a question. Have you ever told anyone like I'm going to go find myself?
I haven't because I feel like most people who say that usually say that in a like a romantic context, like something to do with relationship. I don't think people usually say that just like randomly. Um, because like, what is the context behind that? Why would you ever say that?
And I think that's my problem with it because I think people who are very self-aware already kind of know that and are emotionally conscious enough to understand that they are learning about themselves consistently and what they do want and what they don't want in relationships, stuff like that. And I think maybe people who just aren't ready for that kind of commitment that comes with relationships or just wants an out use that as like again their jail card because no one's gonna shame them for saying, oh, I need to deny themselves. Like you can't, it's not socially acceptable to shame a person for
Like,
that.
so then I'm gonna make the argument
Nice,
that
good
I think people
phrase.
weaponize the finding yourself. You can't really judge someone for, trying to find themselves, you know what I mean? Because then it'll just seem like you're like mean and you're like dismissive. Do you think that it can be used as a weapon? Would you agree?
No, I'm saying that people who are, quote, actually finding who they are don't use the phrase at all. They simply live their life on the day to day and just, I feel like it's more of a natural thing for them.
Then I'm making the argument that some people use it as a weapon. They like
I'm
weaponize the
making the
saying.
argument that all people use it as a weapon.
Oh, I don't think
Everyone who uses the phrase uses it as a weapon.
I don't think so though. Because what if like you're actually stating it? Like you want to tell someone like your like journey of like actually like maybe like you're on like a spiritual like path and like you just want to tell people that like oh like I'm
Then
doing
you're just
this and
trying to
that.
brag that, like, that you're in your Zen, like, transformation era. Like, I feel like this is a pride thing and narcissistic thing. Like, why do you have to tell people that,
Maybe they're
like,
curious. They're curious because we're
who's
naturally curious.
curious?
Your maybe your friends. You never know. I'm curious. Oh, she thought she could kill me. Are you joking? That's crazy. Get back here. No, I mean, like, what if, like, your friend really wants to know? Then you would say it.
But I wouldn't say that phrase. I would tell them, like, what I've learned about myself without.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there is, like, certain situations where you can say that, like.
Why would you say it? Why would you say it? Who would you say it to?
I would say it to
Under
like I would say it to like someone maybe like a stranger like oh hey like I'm like oh
a
my
stranger? Heck no.
well no like maybe like you're doing like an introduction you maybe like or like you haven't seen your friend in a long
To say in an
time.
introduction.
I don't know. Well then okay well this is a better context like maybe you're like seeing your friend that you haven't seen in a while and they want to know like what's up with you. You can be like oh like I'm gonna. Or maybe they're asking like what, like how you change so much. You can say like, oh, like I've been doing like some like self-reflection, which is like a different.
Okay, self-reflection to me is completely like saying,
Self-reflection,
"Oh,
like
I'm
maybe like they're like
self-reflected." It's
self-reflection. I'm
completely
like,
different than saying, "I've found myself." Like, girl,
no, or like
where were
they're just
you? The
saying
depths of
like,
the ocean? What did I have to find you? Like Marlin found his son Nemo? Like, I don't understand.
no, self-reflection and finding yourself. They're just they're like synonyms. They're like similar.
No, self-reflection is looking inward. Finding yourself is like
You're also
thinking
looking inwards.
you
You're
got
looking.
lost at the Eiffel Tower.
No, you're looking
you're left
inwards.
you got no.
Yes.
You found yourself in the grocery store where your mom left you.
No, that's not. Yeah, I think you're taking the meaning literally. When I mean finding yourself, I mean like doing self-reflection to find who you are. So you're doing like internal like searching. You're thinking like you're actually finding yourself. Like you're not doing that when you say you're finding yourself. Like okay, you might not say you're finding yourself, but people say like oh like I'm like doing some self-reflection.
And you see, I don't think that self-reflection and quote finding yourself are synonyms. I don't think they are interchangeable because when someone tells me they're finding themselves, like why do you have to do extra actions in a physical sense? You know what I mean? Because self-reflecting was something you could always do. It was something you could do since day one.
Well, maybe.
Congratulations, you learned how to think. Like, why are you only finding yourself now, then quote? Like, you could have, like, and I feel like everyone self-reflects all the time. When I'm trying to go to bed, and I self-reflect on what I did today, and I think I did something embarrassing, I'm like, oh, ew, I'm never doing that ever again. Like, that's technically self-reflection. People been doing
But
that.
when people say self-reflection, I think they're aware. I feel like when you're just doing it, you're not actually aware. I don't think you're actually aware that
Well,
you're doing it.
well, from that experience, you learned something. You learned that that's whatever you, like, let's say I did something embarrassing. It was like, I learned that's not how I want people to perceive me, so I will not do that action ever again because I felt that it wasn't my best representation of myself, right?
Well, but this is where we differ because I feel like when you say I'm finding myself, or I guess like, oh, I'm doing self-reflection, when you say it, you're actually aware. Like you're consciously making the decision to say like, oh, I'm like I'm like looking within myself, like I'm doing some like introspection, as opposed to like you not saying it, then you're just like passively doing it. But I feel like if you say it, it's like different because you're making the conscious
Then
decision to actually look inwards instead of just like looking inwards, like I guess instinctively, like just like passively.
then why could they not achieve, quote, finding themselves while, going through the motion of self-reflection naturally? Like, why did they have to make this deeper, harder, more extreme, profound effort to go find themselves and self-reflect?
Because when people go hardcore, it usually means one or two things. They either didn't do enough self-reflections, or they've like learned something new about themselves, and they want to like they want to know more about that part of themselves.
Okay. Right. But then,
Right.
like, what are you finding that wasn't already there?
Maybe your new hobby, your new passion, something or or like maybe discovering your new morals, like maybe you've discovered that you're just like really mean, you're like a really like sad person, and like you want to be a new
Well, were
person.
you really finding out those things, or were you just ignoring them?
Well, I think that depends. That depends. Maybe like I think they go hand in hand, because if you're ignoring, then that means that you need to do self-reflection, no? To find the part that you were suppressing. I think they go hand in hand, because one can't go without the other.
Okay, then let's run with your early example. Say I'm your old friend, and I ask you, "Oh, how are you? Are you dating? Give me an update about your life." And you were finding yourself. How would you tell me that?
How would I tell you that? I would say like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing like some self-reflection, and then maybe they would reply with, maybe like my friend would reply with, oh, like what have you learned? Like, have you learned anything? I would be like, yeah, I like discovered like, oh, I have like this new hobby that I didn't know I existed, that like I didn't know existed within me, or like, um,
Mm.
I discovered like, I wasn't really living life to the fullest, and I just wanted to, or like, or like, or like you can say like, oh, like, I discovered like I wasn't really happy with my life, and I just wanted to know like why, like really know why, and so did some like self-reflecting, and then that, I came to the conclusion that, I just didn't like X, Y, and Z, you know?
I mean, if that's how you feel about it. I'm gonna give you a personal anecdote. I have two brothers, so because of that, I kind of grew up like in the middle of like being interested in girl stuff and being interested in boy stuff. Um, and I remember my younger brother was really into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hmm.
And when he would watch it, I'd be like, ah, this show sucks. This is terrible. I actually really like this show. My favorite was Donatello. Better than me. Realized I actually liked the show, and for Christmas. She got me my own Ninja Turtle Donatello. And I was like, I don't want this. This is terrible. And then my I traded my Donatello for a Ken because mom got Ken. I don't. She didn't screw it up. We know that because whatever. You get the point that I'm trying to make. That like I conscientiously ignored the fact I actually liked it, and I it was not something I didn't find out. Like it wasn't some magical discovery. It was more of a thing I ignored,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's why. Is it really? Are you? To what extent is it is it finding yourself versus
Well, that, but that,
what you're ignoring?
but that situation was, but like that's where we draw the line between like, what it means, because that one is like your like what you just shared, like that's different. Um, like
In what sense?
you knew, Like, you knew that you were ignoring it, but some people don't realize that. Like, they don't realize they've been suppressing it until they've done the reflection.
I don't think I knew I was ignoring it. I just think I can't really describe to you how what it was truly like because again, I was a kid. This is a very long time ago. But I feel like maybe this is just my personal thing. Maybe for people who naturally consistently self-reflect and maybe overthink in that sense, don't feel the need to find themselves in the same sense that maybe people who don't do as much personal self-reflecting naturally need to.
So I think
And maybe that's the
I
difference.
think so. Can we both agree that self-reflection has different meanings for everyone?
I guess. I mean, it's a simple conclusion.
I think it's all up to interpretation still. Like, there's not like, oh, one answer. You know what I mean? Like like finding yourself means different things for everyone. Like, at its core, I think finding yourself is just what it literally means, finding yourself. You know, but on a deeper level, I think it means finding yourself, but also like rebirth. You know, like you're finding something new with it. Like, I think when people say finding yourself, I think a lot of people think of finding something old within yourself, but I also think it means finding something new within yourself. Do you get what I'm Do you get what I'm saying?
Basic concept of it. I mean, I
Do you have
think
any do you
we've
have any
reached the part of this topic that is kind of cut and dry, that we've ended up at the simple conclusion that despite that not being very profound or a unique idea, it's the logical truth.
Yeah, because no one knows what it means.
If they did, they wouldn't have to find it. Like,
Oh,
never
yeah,
mind.
that was
No.
deep. No, that was deep. Yeah, like if you knew, if you knew what it meant, then you wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
That was deep.
Well,
No, that was deep.
help y'all live in pirates. Go find your X that marks that spot. Okay.
X marks
Go
that
find it
spot.
then.
Go find the X.
Yeah. Go find X. All I know is that the equation is also equal to Y somehow. I don't.
That then yeah, then in that sense, that would be, I guess, your end goal. So go find the X to your Y. Do you have any parting words? Honestly, I think the episode. I feel like this episode is so chaotic. There were several parts where we just we just stopped talking.
Yeah, had to lock in.
But I think I'm gonna try cutting that out. We're gonna try cutting those parts out and make it more
Yeah.
seamless, so you guys aren't just like hearing silence, just hearing
Yeah.
nothing. Anyways, if you guys, if the conversation was, more superficial and we didn't go more in depth, um, we apologize for that. We it is so hard to concentrate. I mean, you know, we were like multitasking the whole time, so please give us some grace. Um, I think we're gonna make this into another, like, we're gonna make this a separate, I guess, season, because it's like different from our main podcast where we just talk. This is like a experimental kind of thing. So I think we might just like make this into like season 2, so we can like differentiate between like our normal podcast and then this, where we like play games while we try having conversations. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this chaotic, maybe cut and dry episode. Um, and if you have any thoughts, comments, please leave them in like Spotify or wherever you listen, um, where you can comment. And I think that's all for us today from Just Two Teens. Do you have any parting words? No? No? Nothing? Nada?
No, nothing.
Nada?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you just want to cut me off then.
All right. This is Calvin and
Nicole.
signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.